time here can't just be fun. It is time to officially call to order the IBTTA's annual business meeting. So our first order of business, as is the tradition, is the annual financial report. That's you, George. This report will be given by George Zalachi, who's chairman of the Finance Standing Committee of the board. George, you have the floor.
Good morning, everyone. As chairman of the Finance Standing Committee of the board, I'm pleased to report on the 2018 financial statements of the IBTTA. Our accounts and records for the year were examined and audited by the certified public accounting firm of Clifton Lawson Allen. The IBTTA Board of Directors and the Audit Committee received the auditor's report, reviewed it, and accepted it. We operate as a not-for-profit 501c6 corporation in the United States, and we are generally exempt from U.S. income tax. For the 2018 audit, the IBTTA operates using generally accepted accounting principles, which is commonly known as GAAP. This is the standard for most U.S. organizations. Beginning with the fiscal year 2009, we have consolidated the financial statements of the IBTTA and subsidiaries, the IBTTA Foundation. You know, I'm going to get off script for a little while. I've been giving this report now, this is my 26th year. And except for the numbers, this damn script never changes. And usually at this time of the script, I look out at the audience, and most of you are dozing. Most of you are thinking whatever you're thinking of, but paying no attention to any word I'm saying. And you know how disheartening that is. And I decided this time I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to try to get you all to participate in this very dull presentation of numbers. And in so doing, I'm going to use some props. So give me a second, please. I have here in this container, it's from the New Jersey Unclaimed Property Division. So I was able to do. These are called clappers. And let me just go through, there's 3 of them, as I give the rest of my report. The first one is a thumbs up. That's good news. When I say that, please clap. Show some enthusiasm. Make me feel like I'm doing something, please. The second one, that's thumbs down. That's only going to be used once because we have one number here that I'm not too happy with, okay? And the third one, standing ovation. I've given this report 25 years. And when I finish, I feel I gave a eulogy instead of a report. So please, I think I've deserved it, people. At the end of my report, give me a standing ovation, please. Make me feel like I've done something around. Yeah, please, can you? He has to chime in on this. He's the president, so I can't say no to him.
This is what it means to be president. So.
Okay, now for the numbers. In 2018, we had a total operating revenues, including meetings, of $5,551,735. The total operating expenses, including meetings, of $5,062,210 resulted in a net gain of $489,525. In addition, the IBTTA experienced a net loss on investment portfolio of $73,000. Come on, Chris. $970. Boo, hiss, boo. That's the only time we'll use that, so you can hold that. Therefore, the IBTTA's net assets for the year of 2018 was a gain of $415,555. With net assets at the beginning of the year of $1,790,520 in 2018, our consolidated net assets of December 31st, 2018 were $2,206,075. Our assets are invested in an account managed by Rafa Wealth Management, LLC. Our funds are placed according to a policy approved by the Board of Directors with input from the Investment Subcommittee and the Finance Standing Committee of the Board. I want to thank the other members of the Finance Committee, especially 2019 Vice Chair Susan Buse, for their input and support throughout the year. I also want to thank you, the members, for your continued financial support and participation in the IBTTA. Finally, I want to express my deepest appreciation and gratitude to Pat Jones, Wanda Clayman, Kathy Pennington, and the rest of the staff of the IBTTA for all their assistance. Pay attention. I need this. And now, Mr. President, that concludes my report. Thank you, thank you.
Believe me when I tell you, it is now my pleasure to introduce our immediate past president, Tim Stewart, to give the nomination committee report and see how he follows that last report up.
Leave it to George to set me up. You're getting me back for the comments earlier in the week. Inside joke there, and his memorial will be great, I know. Thank you, Mr. President. The nominating committee was overwhelmed and received a large number of applications from extremely qualified candidates for officer and director positions this year, and this encouraged us as members. The membership has continued to grow in strength and interest in serving the association. The IBTTA nominating committee met this summer. The nominating committee participants included myself as chair, Mike Helgenstein, Rob Hoare, Steve Snyder, Buddy Croft, and Emmanuel Estoki. The nominating committee considered various applicants and by appropriate motions, seconds, and votes, advance the following slate of candidates for your consideration. For officer, term expiring at the end of 2020, President Samuel Johnson from the Transportation Corridor Agencies, First Vice President Mark Compton from the Pennsylvania Turnpike Commission, Second Vice President Diane Gutierrez Scacchetti from the New Jersey Department of Transportation, International Vice President Malika Sethi from ASFA, and immediate past president, or current president, Chris Tomlinson from the Georgia Road and Tollway Authority. Director term expiring the end of 2020, Joy Dean from the Richmond Metropolitan Transportation Authority, and Farzan Ahmad from the Ohio Turnpike and Infrastructure Commission. Director term expiring at the end of 2021, Jeff Daly, Central Texas Regional Mobility Authority, and Julio Manso from Centra. Director expiring at the end of 2020, Laura Kelly, Central Florida Expressway Authority, Maria Marino Sipan, Tim Sturek, Thousand Island Bridge Authority, and oftentimes Tim and I get our names. No, I'm not rerunning. Director term expiring at the end of 2023, Jessica Carson, E470 Public Highway Authority. J.J. Eden, North Carolina Turnpike Authority. Andy Vermeer, Bay Area Toll Authority. Renee Moser, Asphanog, and Benton Tempest Northwest Parkway. It is my pleasure to place these names in nomination and move that they may be elected to these positions. Can I get a second from the audience? Second so received. Thank you, Mr. Croft. Or thank you, Coach. I now ask if there are any additional nominations from the floor. Our bylaws require that we take nominations and open those for a 30-second period, and that time will begin now. Somebody get a clown. It's going to be an extended 30 seconds. Keep the suspense.
I don't believe I'm doing this. Bum, ba, bum, 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 bum.
Again.
Again. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da.
With my internal time clock, I'm going to say we've hit 30 seconds. Thank you. The 30 seconds are over. The nominations are now officially closed. All in favor of electing the slate of candidates, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the slate of candidates are selected. Turn it back over to our president.
And I thought I was going to get to use this, so. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce, he's no stranger to any of us, IBTTA's Executive Director and CEO, Pat Jones, to present his annual CEO report.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, and congratulations to all the newly elected directors and officers. I know that Samuel and Mark just kind of squeaked by, but Diane, received the second VP with overwhelming approval. So congratulations to all the new officers and directors. And I want to say thank you, George, for the excellent financial report. You have given new meaning to the financial report, and I hope we look forward to similar hijinks in the future. Thank you very much. I'd also like to say thanks to my wife, Mia, my rock, my best friend, the love of my life, for supporting me on every step of the journey. Thank you very much. I love participating in meetings like this because it gives me a chance to listen to the universe in a way that isn't always accessible to me in my daily life. The rush of ideas that happens in a setting like this opens up new pathways of thought and intention for me. Listening to the formal presentations on stage and the informal presentations during the coffee breaks and social events helps me be attentive to important messages that I might otherwise miss. This is Greta Thunberg. She's a 16-year-old Swedish climate activist. She started learning about climate change when she was about 8 years old and began her climate activism around age 12. She was disturbed by the Swedish Parliament's inaction regarding climate change and began what she called school striking and standing in front of the Swedish Parliament every Friday on what she calls Fridays for the Future. Her basic message was this: because you don't give a damn about my future, I won't either, and I'm school striking. I mention Greta Thunberg because she's in the news right now. Last month, she made a 2-week journey from Sweden to New York on a sailboat. She doesn't fly, to participate in the United Nations Climate Action Summit on September 23rd. Yesterday, we heard a fascinating presentation about the Apollo program from our keynote speaker, Charles Fishman. In the midst of a gripping narrative about the quest to put a man on the moon and the leadership lessons of the space program, we heard a subtle message about climate change that echoes Greta Thunberg. Charles said, "The people in this room are the ones who can solve the biggest challenge we have today: climate change." I wasn't expecting to hear that message from Charles Fishman, but I'm also not surprised, because Charles' message about climate change was already in the room before he brought it up. Yesterday, we asked our graphic reporter, Ariel Rothenberg, to create a mural in the exhibit hall as a summary of your responses to this question: what is the most important thing IBTTA could do right now to be sure we are relevant in 2029? This is the mural. And we're going to make this mural and the other 2 murals available online so everybody can have access to them. Now, it may be a little challenging to see in this image because there's a lot going on, but concern about climate change is definitely in there. Let me zoom in a little. There it is. Now we can make it out better. Decarbonized transport, eco routes, sustainable mobility. So the seeds of what Greta Thunberg and Charles Fishman are talking about are present in this room today. I think those seeds of concern about climate change have been present in this room for quite some time. They just need a little encouragement, a little nurturing, and a little sunshine. There are all kinds of seeds sprouting in IBTTA these days, and they've been sprouting for some time. Mary Jane O'Meara talked about it from this stage yesterday morning. She said, "In 1999, I was the second woman to ever serve on the IBTTA board. Our meetings were short, and by today's standard, they were superficial. There was no expectation that the board would discuss policy, discuss big ideas, or develop long-term strategy to move tolling and user financing forward. In 1999, convening an association board for a 90-minute tactical meeting was pretty much state-of-the-art. But she began to change things. She called on IBTTA to begin a new strategic planning process that would bring the association into a new era. I think we see the seeds of a new era all around us." On Saturday, the Founders Committee of the Young Professionals Council talked to the IBTTA Board of Directors. Afterwards, one of the members of the Founders Committee, Chelsea Scheid from RSNH, talked to me about her experiences working on the project. They've had 22 meetings since the Orlando meeting in April. And they're working on a mission statement, a charter, bylaws, and plans to hold the first election of officers. A lot of work in a short time frame. She said, "When I started, I didn't know what I was getting myself into." Yes, that's exactly what happens when we start new things. We feel like we don't know what we're getting ourselves into. How did the scientists and engineers at NASA feel when they learned they had 8 years to do something that had never been done before in the history of the world, and they didn't have the tools or the knowledge to do it? How did Chelsea Scheid feel when she embarked on a journey to create a space for young professionals in IBTTA and bridge the gap between generations? How did Mary Jane O'Meara feel when she became one of the only women to serve on the IBTTA board and one of the first women to serve as president. And how did Greta Thunberg feel when she first realized that our planet is on the verge of ecological catastrophe? Scared? Depressed? Overwhelmed? Uncertain? Yes, those things and more. But they all did something about it. They took the next step. Maybe they didn't know what the next step was. Maybe they made mistakes. Of course they did. But they moved forward. We are at a moment of immense promise, challenge, and opportunity for our industry and our world. We may not know what we are getting ourselves into, but guided by our past and inspired by those around us who see things that we can only glimpse faintly, we're going to take the next step. Mr. President, it is an honor and a privilege to serve this great organization. That concludes my report. Thank you very much.
Do we run an efficient business meeting or what? So, before we get into the rest of the content, being president, it's been an honor and a privilege, but it's also been some work. But there are definitely some perks, and this is one of them. I have the privilege today of presenting in front of this entire membership a resolution of appreciation that the board passed on Saturday. And I want to tell you a little bit about that resolution and the man that we want to show our appreciation to, our immediate past president, Mr. Tim Stewart. So Tim, if you'll come up here and join me, please. It's been my pleasure to, and this is great, I don't even need a script for this, so it's been my pleasure to work with Tim over the past really 3 years, following behind him in his footsteps as I worked with the executive committee. Tim is just a man of his word, a true professional, and obviously this resolution passed unanimously. We didn't even need little placards to get people to vote. And rather than read you all the whereases and therefores, I really want to read for this group really the core of this resolution, because it really does a good job of summing up, I think, the man and the person that Tim is. Thoughtful, poised, and unflappable. Humble, genuine, and down to earth. A gentleman, a consummate professional, and a get-her-done guy. These are some of the words colleagues use to describe Tim Stewart. Tim Stewart led IBTTA under the theme Trust and Accountability. He believes trust is built by taking time for customers and communities to understand that we offer a dependable, viable solution to meet transportation demand. He also believes that if you trust someone to do something, they have to deliver. So we build trust by what we do and by holding ourselves accountable for what we promise to do. As president, Tim cultivated a heightened sense of member engagement through the committees and working groups of IBTTA. He also engaged the board of directors in a serious conversation about the future of our industry that led them to adopt a new 3-year plan, really a new way that we're going to approach the business of this association. As one board member said, Tim exemplifies the best characteristics of a leader: kind but firm, open-minded but decisive. According to another, when Tim speaks, people need to listen. Tim, you've just been an amazing friend, colleague, professional, but a shining example of what's best about our profession, leading with honor and integrity. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to present this resolution of appreciation to you for a job well done and for service that never ever seems to end. Thank you so much.
When the board passed this resolution earlier, to some extent I was speechless. My only response was, wow. I feel it really undeserving. I work with an incredible team of people on the IBTTA board and the IBTTA staff. Be assured they were the ones that did the heavy lifting. They were the ones that helped chart the course. It's easy to lead a team when they're all consummate professionals, those that are very dedicated to their craft, those that have the best interests of the association and each other in mind, and that's huge. I was propped up by strong past presidents and those that came alongside of me and helped encourage and mentor me and at times corrected me when needed. And for that, I'm very appreciative. But as everyone that steps into this role knows, they can't do this role if they don't have a strong team at home. I had an incredible board, an incredible staff, that even though I was somewhat new to the organization when I took on this role, they stepped in and ensured that I didn't have to worry about home. They were there to help support me all the way, each step of the journey, and for that I'm continually grateful and indebted to them. Mary Jane, you started something, and you placed within me, again, Emma, I'm going to borrow her, my mama of IBTTA, a drive, a determination to move forward, and encouraged me to even consider running for second VP, and I appreciate that. It's been an incredible journey. I've grown close to an executive committee that will be lifelong friends, that I will never forget, that I will be close to always, that I'm always available for at a call. But I've said before, I can't be the man I am without the woman that I'm married to, and the love of my life's been my rock. She's been my anchor. She's brought me back to earth when I needed to be and reminded me of who I am and how I can serve others. I'm just so thankful for the opportunity to serve, to be your servant, and I hope I've done so diligently and will continue to do so in the years ahead. Thank you so much.